Welcome, Dani Patterson, to the Swaay.Health show.
Thanks for having me.
So, Dani, you are here with us today because you were the winner in 2024 for the Marketing Rising Star Award. And we wanted to have you on just to kind of chat a little bit about your win and talk a little bit about your journey about how you got here. So maybe we can just start off by you telling us a little bit about your background and how you got started in marketing.
Yeah, so my background, I feel like I cover quite a bit of it. I actually started in higher education. From higher education, I moved to nonprofit, and now I'm in healthcare IT marketing. What I've loved with each of these roles is that each one has been so vastly different, but has taught something so necessary in order to build upon the next one. So there's so many people that are at the heart of each and everything that you're doing with higher education and with nonprofit. And that just created such a good foundation for healthcare IT marketing. One of the things that I love to say with my personal roles in marketing is that I am a jack of all trades, a master of none, but better than a master of one. And I think that just has played such a big role in my love for marketing. Every person that's watching this, I know, knows exactly that thought of whenever you're in marketing, you can't just be a master of one thing. You know, there are so many ways that you have to adapt and change and move just to keep pushing your organization forward, but also keep pushing your team forward. And that's probably the thing that I love most about marketing is that every day is not going to be the same. And we just get to keep doing so many different things and refining so many different skills.
Totally. And, I'm nodding my head, and I'm sure people who are watching and listening are also nodding their head because, as a marketer, or if you are a marketer, you know that that's so true. You talked a little bit about the nonprofit sector kind of coming from there. As someone kind of transitioned from a different sector kind of completely into healthcare marketing, how do you think that those past experience shaped who you are now and maybe what you're doing in your current role?
Yeah, so my past experiences have led to three mantras that I utilize not only in my career, but also my personal life.
Mm.
The first, yeah, get excited.
Yeah, let's
The
get
first
it.
one is people matter most.
Hmm.
Always, without hesitation, no matter what, you can't argue it. People matter most. They are at the heart of everything that you're doing. So when it came to higher education, we were in charge of every single foundation scholarship that went out to students. There were hundreds of student lives that we were touching based on these foundation scholarships. And nonprofit, while people may be different or difficult sometimes, dare we say, they're still at the heart and the purpose of what we're doing to push forward, which makes perfect sense going into healthcare. The patient, no matter what, no matter where you're at in the healthcare line, the patient is the end client. It's the end goal to make sure that they matter most. And that's what I've loved in going through each of these different areas in my career. My second one is fluidity over flexibility.
Mm.
Flexibility, even if you're flexible, you will still break. You can stretch, you'll still break. Fluidity, on the other hand, allows you to move around obstacles, allows you to keep flowing forward, which is what I love so much. There's so many different things that you can pull from the movement of water, if you will, that the movement of water is going to continue to move forward. It's not going to move backwards. So that's my second mantra. My third mantra, and probably the most important, is that you always have to have coffee nearby.
Mm.
1 cup is probably good, but I'm more of like a 6 cup a day kind of person, So I know that there's going to be a lot of people that can agree and align to that as well, is that coffee must always be in hand. It is my love language. You need coffee.
Mm.
I got you. You need to find coffee. We're going to make it an adventure. Coffee always.
I would be right there with you. Totally agree on that. I know there's some, non-coffee drinkers, but I think everybody, I think the majority people who are coffee drinkers and love coffee are, behind you 100%. And I would be right there beside you. You want to go for a drive and get a coffee? Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it. You want to meet halfway, Brittany? We can meet halfway
yeah,
and get coffee. Sure.
exactly. It's not that far of a drive, right? So,
Right.
Dani, you speak, so eloquently, of your mantras and some of the stuff that you're doing. And it seems like you've been in this space for, a long time. I feel like I've known you for a long time, but, as we kind of think about it, you've been in, HIT marketings for just over 2 years or maybe a little bit more. And you've made such an impact, not only on, the Swaay.Health community, but I'm sure your colleagues and kind of people within the space that you've come in contact with. What do you think has been key to this kind of rapid success that you've had, and obviously the recognition that you've got as Marketing Rising Star?
Well, first off, thank you for the kind words. But I think the biggest thing is people, and you'll probably hear me say that way too many times during this interview. People, 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 100%. So my biggest thing, especially when it comes to the recognition of Marketing Rising Star, the relationships that I've been able to build, not only within my current organization, but also within the Swaay community, are relationships that I know I will have for a lifetime. There's been this really beautiful kind of back and forth where we're able to say like, hey, this is something that I'm super frustrated about today, or I can't figure this thing out in HubSpot, or I haven't been able to figure out how this new LinkedIn update works, or this new Google update works, or, the list could go on and on and on and on. But what I've loved so much is this community that has opened up their arms and welcomed me as well as so many others into this area where like, hey, we're not going to judge you for a question that you have. We also may not know the answer, but guess what? We're just as frustrated. And having that camaraderie with other healthcare IT marketers truly is the thing that has been able to push me forward. There are so many times where I've got extreme imposter syndrome.
Mm.
Knowing that I've got this group of people that I can text or call or email or message on LinkedIn, whatever it be, whatever form of communication it is, they're always so quick to jump in and be like, no, we've got this. Like, we'll figure it out together. It's not something you have to do alone. And that's not just, the Swaay community, that's also my coworkers and my
Mm.
colleagues, current and previous. So that's been the biggest push for success, is that it's nothing that I've done, but it's the people that are surrounding me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to have kind of a village like that to be able to rely on, both, professionally, in the workplace, but also, personally too. They say, it's so helpful to be able to rely on a village to help you out whenever you need. So I think it's such a beautiful thing.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about the award for a second. How did you feel when you first found out that you won the award? I was up on stage and probably could not contain my tears that were like happening as they were announcing your win. But I'm curious to see, what you felt sitting in the audience and hearing your name.
Well, I'm already getting flushed again. But I also wept immediately. Like truly just could not stop crying. I think I cried for at least 20 minutes.
Love it.
There was this amazing moment of all of the realignments that happened in my current organization for the past 2 years, whatever that looks like. It was this moment of all of the hard work that I had been putting in, all of the effort, sometimes all of the tears, because let's be honest, that's how it works, but also
Mhm.
all of the joy and the excitement on each of these projects. It was finally recognized. And it wasn't just one of these, like, your boss giving you a pat on the shoulder of like, hey, good job. It was this moment where an organization, a community that I love deeply, with people that I love deeply, recognized that. And it's like I still have that award on my desk. In fact, we came home and my sweet little 4-year-old grabs that award and he goes, "Mom, you got me a cool pink pointy thing." And like it's just those moments of
Cute.
the excitement, even from him. He has no idea, but it was a moment I hope to never forget. But also I am deeply honored by receiving that award, not just because of the work that's been put in, but because of the people who gave it.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. And you know, it is such a nice thing, like you said, to be able to be recognized by a community or an organization. It does kind of have that different feel than just, here's a gift card or here's a pat on the back. It really being recognized for all of your hard work and kind of everything that you put into that, and it coming full circle, is such a, I can imagine it's such a great feeling to have. I read through some of your nomination comments and quotes before this interview, and your colleagues and folks within the community described you in these nominations as extremely versatile and an amazing adapter, a rock star, an awesome marketer, and just a pure joy to work with. um you know what's great comments to have, from for people to tell you, but what personal qualities do you think contribute most to your success and such a positive reputation that you have within this community?
I'm gonna cry again. We're gonna need to not read those things again, or I will
Right.
cry. I think that there are several things that have kind of led to who I am right now. The first is I am irrationally tenacious. Yes, that can get in the way sometimes, but if there's a task in front of me, or in front of my team, I will do anything and everything needed to ensure that it gets done and gets done with an expectation of excellence, not just like completed to be marked off the list.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I think that that's probably that number one quality that brought some of those comments forward. The other is I am adaptable. The last 2 years has been a lovely roller coaster, but a roller coaster nonetheless. And there's been this really great way to where I've been pulled and stretched. And I can truly say that I've had a lot of growth in the last 2 years because I've been willing to adapt to the needs not only of our marketing team, but also to the needs of our organization. Um, and lastly, I'm going to go back to it. I am a true believer that people do matter most.
Mm.
Uh, and I go into every meeting, every relationship, every call, every whatever. And I ensure that the person that I'm sitting across from is good. Like whenever I say, "Hey, how are you?" I truly want to know, like, are you good? Like, is your core good, or are you just saying that so we can move on?
Mm.
I know that the drive for people most likely isn't the job that they're sitting at with their 9 to 5. It's the things that get them excited outside of work. It's the things that rejuvenate them and give them rest and bring them joy and love and all of these other items. So I want to know about those things. We spend so much time with our colleagues. Um, literally, sometimes more time with our colleagues than we do with our families.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that we do life with our colleagues. We do life so we know like what's happening in these people's lives. Why would I be cranky one day and they're not, and vice versa? So I think that it's a huge importance on the people matter most aspect of it. It really is how I run my life. It's how we run our home. It's how we run our family. And if that gets to bleed into my workplace, I'm all for it.
Dani, I just hearing you kind of talk about that just makes me, so happy and excited. And I can only imagine how your colleagues feel about you working with you on an everyday basis. Because I know us in the community love having you as a part of the community, and you make us feel like that. So if you're striving to do that, you definitely are winning on that front for sure. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the Sway community. So I think this year was your third
Mhm.
conference at
Yeah.
the Sway conference. Talk to me a little bit how these conferences have influenced your career or even your approach in marketing or your approach to your career.
Yeah, so this is my third.
Mm.
My very first HitMix slash Sway, which it was HitMix at the time. I think I was working at Optimum for 2 weeks, and then my third week was the Sway conference. So I jumped in with both feet, like without question. There was no there was no option. But the Sway conference has impacted my career, one through people, which I've already kind of touched on. It's created this community without judgment, without fear of approaching anyone with any question. There are so many doors that it's opened in terms of kind of like the audiences that I'm getting to interact with.
Mm.
It's not just marketing managers. I'm getting to interact with CMOs at other healthcare IT firms, at hospitals, at even some CIOs. Like there are so many different pathways that the Sway community has opened, which I'm incredibly thankful for. But the thing that I love most about it is that every time I go to a Sway conference, one of three things happens. What I'm thinking is either enforced, usually it's all three, by the way. What I'm thinking is either enforced of like, yes, you should be doing XYZ. What I'm thinking is completely challenged. And I think, oh, press the brakes, like this is not the right path. But
Mm.
my favorite one is the ability to have a conversation to actually determine where we can go as a community. So it's not just Optimum healthcare IT focused. It's not just Dani Patterson focused. It's what are we doing together as a community to continue to push forward all of HIT, not
Mm.
just one organization or one person.
I love that. That's awesome. And I'm so glad to hear that. I think as John kind of created this community that is, one of the or all of the things that he was hoping for to kind of create with these groups of people and bringing them all together. So it's so nice to hear that. As we talk about marketers, or you as a marketer, myself as a marketer, we have a lot of marketers listening. Um, what are some of the qualities you think are essential to be a successful marketer today in our industry?
Yeah. Relationships, relationships, relationships. Whether it is your internal marketing team, whether it is your internal organization team, whether it is sales, whether it is a vendor, the list could go on and on and on, right? Relationships are the absolute key to move forward when it comes to marketing. You have to have a relationship with your audience. You have to have a relationship with your client. And I think in today's world, not I think, I know in today's world, the world is yearning for an authentic relationship to take place, whether that
Mm.
is an individual, whether that is a client, etc. They are yearning for someone to see them, to be heard by someone, and to be uplifted by someone. And that someone can sometimes be our organization or be us as marketers. So those are the big things. The biggest quality, actually, it's the only quality that I have
Mhm.
listed as the most important. That without those relationships, without nurturing those relationships, since we're going to use marketing terms, without nurturing those relationships, you unfortunately will not succeed. And I think that whenever you nurture those relationships and kind of work your way from the inside out, you'll see the ripple effect truly happen. And it will be a bigger impact than you've ever realized in your marketing career.
I couldn't agree more. And, I think you're right. I think people are longing for that connectivity and that relationship quality, not only, you know, in their personal life or their professional life, but like you said, also in marketing. You know, we talk about, that's why stories are so important, because we really want to connect and kind of build that relationship between us and kind of what we're telling and the person on the other end. So I couldn't agree with you more.
You know.
And I'm also glad I got to build a relationship with you as well. So that is a bonus too.
Same. You are one of my absolute favorite human beings on this planet. Don't tell John and Colin, okay?
Yeah. You know, so we're going to kind of wrap up our call here, but we always like to, you know, dig in a little bit deeper to anyone that we have on the show. So, can you tell us what's one thing, or, you know, a fun fact that people might be surprised to know about you?
Yeah. So my fun fact is I grew up on a 300 head Black Angus cattle farm. And that has shaped so much of me. Y'all, I'm not kidding whenever I say the Midwest work ethic is not to be trifled with. There is something about working on a farm for so many formative years of your life and then coming into a corporate organization, which vastly different. I know I've already said that phrase already, but oh my goodness, so different. Cows are not people, and you pretty much feed them and they're happy. You know, that's not, well, there are some people you could probably feed and they'd be happy, but it's so different to go from that farm setting to a corporate setting. But the main thing is that work ethic, no matter what, is the thing to be pushed forward. You've got to put your work ethic forward. So that would be my fun fact.
I love that. And that's probably where you get most of your tenacity from too, you know, waking up those early mornings, and it's a never ending, I feel like it's a never ending job. And, you know, there's always something, you know, to get done. So I feel like that's probably where you got some of that, some of those qualities from as well.
You're probably right.
Well, Dani, that ends our time here for today. Thank you so much for being on our show and chatting with us about your recent win. So congratulations again on that. And just a little bit of background about you and your journey in the healthcare marketing industry. We appreciate all of your insights.
I appreciate you having me today. And as always, it's lovely to talk to you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.